Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a really interesting research study that sits at the intersection of online communities, careers, and just overall job mobility. The paper that we're going to be going over is called Participation in Open Knowledge, Communities, and Job Hopping by Huang and Zhang, published in MIS Quarterly in 2016. The big question behind this study is simple but powerful. Does participating in open knowledge communities like open source projects or Q&A forums make people more likely to change jobs? At first glance or first thought, you might think the answer is obvious. More visibility, more skills, more opportunities. So yeah, probably more job hopping. Well, the reality is a bit more nuanced. And that's what makes this study so interesting, and that's why we're going to break it down. First, let's clarify what the authors meant by open knowledge communities, or OKCs, like I may use later on. These are online platforms where people voluntarily contribute knowledge that's freely available to others. Think of open source software communities, technical Q&A sites, collaborative coding platforms. Even Reddit is a perfect example. Participants usually aren't paid directly. Instead, they contribute for reasons such as learning new skills, building their reputation, helping other people, or just enjoying the work that they do. At the same time, job hopping, which is typically clarified as changing employers voluntarily, has become more common, especially in knowledge-based communities such as tech. So the authors ask, how does participation in these communities influence someone's decision to stay or leave their job? What's really cool about this paper is that it doesn't assume a simple answer. Instead, the authors propose two competing effects. Number one, the career advancement effect. Participation in open knowledge communities can improve technical skills, increase visibility to recruiters, build professional reputations, and expand professional networks. All of that could make someone more attractive on the job market, which could increase the likelihood of job hopping. Number two, the embeddedness effect. On the flip side, contributing to these communities can also increase satisfaction within one's current job, strengthen ties with coworkers who collaborate externally, and align personal interests with work responsibilities. This can actually make people more embedded in their current job, reducing their desire to leave. So the key question becomes, which effect dominates and under what condition? To answer this, Huang and Zhang analyzed longitudinal data from software developers involved in open source communities. They tracked levels of participation within open knowledge communities, job changes over time, and individual experience and career stage. Because the data spans multiple years, the authors could examine cause and effect relationships, not just correlations. This is important. It lets them see how changes in participation relate to future job hopping behavior. Here was the first major finding. Greater participation in open knowledge communities is associated with higher likelihood of job hopping. In other words, people who contribute are more generally or more likely to change jobs. Why is this? Because participation signals the ability to the job market, it creates outside opportunities, and reduces dependence on a single employer. So early on, the career advancement effect dominates. But here's where things get really interesting. The relationship between participation and job hopping is not linear. Instead, it follows an inverted U-shape. That means at low to moderate levels of participation, job hopping increases. At very high levels of participation, job hopping actually decreases. Why does this happen? At high levels of contribution, people often become deeply embedded in professional communities. They gain recognition that's tied to long-term projects, and they integrate community work closely with their current job. At that point, leaving a job could actually disrupt their identity and status, so they're less likely to move. Another important finding is that career stage matters a lot. Early career professionals benefit more from participation in terms of mobility. Late career professionals experience stronger embeddedness effects. So for someone early in their career, open knowledge participation is more likely to open doors and encourage movement. For more experienced professionals, participation often reinforces stability instead. So what does this mean for you? If you're contributing to open source or other knowledge communities, you're likely to increase your market value. You may attract new job opportunities, but over time, you might also find yourself more rooted in your current role. So what's the key takeaway here? Open knowledge participation shapes careers in complex, evolving ways, not just by increasing mobility or job hopping. This study also has big implications for companies or organizations. Managers often worry that encouraging external participation will cause employees to leave, but the research suggests that participation doesn't automatically lead to turnover. In many cases, it can increase engagement and retention, especially for highly committed contributors. Smart organizations and companies can embrace open knowledge communities rather than fear them. To wrap up, Huang and Zhang's study shows that participating in open knowledge communities can increase job hopping, but not indefinitely. It also shows that it has different effects depending on experience and intensity. Lastly, it shapes careers in ways that go far beyond simple additional opportunities. It's a great reminder that careers aren't just built inside organizations anymore. They're built across communities, platforms, and networks. If you found this breakdown helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think.